Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to call the Wednesday, September 26, 2018, year 2019 second public budget hearing, special call meeting order at 5:08 p.m. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado. Here. Councilwoman Bailey.
Here.
Councilwoman Fairclough.
Here.
Councilman Burgess.
Here.
Councilman Roth.
Here.
Vice Mayor Shelley, Mayor Porter.
All right, Mr. Attorney, would you like to read? Hang on, I'll turn you on.
The City of Homestead's final operating millage rate is 5.9215 mils, which is the same as the previous year's millage rate, and the final voted debt millage rate is 0.5300 mils. The rolled back millage rate is 5.5 mils. The final operating millage rate of 5.9215 mils is 6.69% above the rollback rate of 5.5 mils.
Thank you. To the council, we've all seen the presentation and went through it several weeks ago. If it's the will of the body, we can go on and have a short, have a manager give a very short presentation, or if it's the will of the body, we can do the full presentation again, whichever they would like to do. Short. Okay, short. Mr. Manager.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to just read what we have here. Staff recommends mayor and the council adopt the attached resolution. Final operating millage rate of 5.9215 per $1,000 of assessed value of ad valorem taxation for real and personal property within the City of Homestead. Millage rate is same as last year's millage rate and to be implemented beginning on October 1st, 2018 and ending on September 30th, 2019. Final voted debt millage rate of 0.53 cents per $1,000 of assessed value of ad valorem taxation for real and personal property within the City of Homestead. This millage rate reflects a 0.0275 reduction from last year's millage rate of 0.5575 mils and to be implemented beginning October 1st, 2018 and ending on September 30th, 2019. And as somebody mentioned, this is no increase in the millage rate, there's no service cuts, there's no layoffs, and it's a balanced budget without using any of the reserves or utility funds. And we're very grateful to the staff for all their efforts in making this a possibility and thanking you all for your leadership and support of our staff.
Thank you. Any questions from the council for the manager or staff? Hearing none, seeing none, I will open the floor up for public comments on the budget and the budget only. Any questions? Yes, sir. Come forward, your name and address for the record, please.
I'm new here, so stop at 18 Lane and Homestead. I just want to bring up while we're talking about budget, talking about taxes. I remember last couple of meetings, Vice Mayor Shelley pronounced we weren't going to have any tax increases. Well, I said that's kind of strange. If you're going to keep the millage rate the same, what changes besides the millage rate? Assessed value. Guess what? Assessed value is what the county, and every one of you look at your homeowners' proposed taxes, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Well, Councilman Roth mentioned, well, maybe we could bounce the taxes by $100 for 24,000 residents. That's not a big deal. Well, I look at mine. Mine's $400 going up with the same millage rate as last year, 592. $400, 10% increase, you're not going to raise our taxes. Well, so I'm a little confused about that, okay? Very confusing. And then in the paper, notice a proposed tax increase. But this was in this week's South State News Leader, and you try to look at it, it talks about the millage rate, 592. Well, there's another little thing called debt millage rate, and it happens to be $0.5 mil, and it doesn't happen to be shown anyplace. Guess what? It's still a tax, and it's $0.5 mil. So it's not 592, it's 6.4 something is actually what we're paying. So please, folks, please explain to me how it's a small tax increase, as Mr. Burgess mentioned last budget meeting, that we're paying a lot more than we were 10 years ago. I don't see it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Manager, would you like to respond?
I wouldn't mind would you mind sharing that tax bill with me? Would you mind sharing that tax bill with me so I could see it? Yours. Yeah. No, I haven't seen yours. Well, everybody's is different, depends on their,
We all get assessed,
well, I just wanted to make sure I could see the same thing here is. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is, it says, right here, your homestead total property taxes last year this is just for the city portion, because I think what some people forget is that the city portion of the tax bill, for every dollar you pay in property taxes, only 30% of that goes to the city. And so if you look at your column here on your tax bill, it says here that your total amount of tax for the entire year that you pay the city of Homestead for police and for all the other services that you receive is $148.04. That's what you pay total in taxes. So that was at about $11 a month, $10 a month, somewhere around there. You pay about $10, $11 a month for your services here in Homestead. And so that's basically, it says here, if proposed budget change is adopted, your total taxes will be $148.04. So I think some of the increases that you're seeing are in some of the other taxing authorities, and I don't want to answer for them, so I would just say that the good news is here you won't be paying any more than $148.04. Okay? There you go. Congratulations.
assessed value, folks, assessed value. Taxes are up.
Any other comments from the public, either for or against? Seeing none and hearing none, any any final comments from the council? I'll entertain a motion for approval.
May I just read the resolution into the record?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
It's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, adopting the final operating millage rate of ad valorem taxation and adopting the final millage rate for debt service on the general obligation bonds for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2018 and ending September 30th, 2019.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Been moved and seconded. Mr. Shelley, anything that you came in a little after we started, any comments or questions?
No, I think I made all my comments last meeting.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado. Yes. Councilwoman Bailey. Yes. Councilman Roth.
Yes.
Councilwoman Faircloth. Yes. Councilman Burgess.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item. Do you want to read the next
Yes.
item in?
For a second reading, we have an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, adopting a budget for each of the several funds and departments of the city for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2018, and ending September 30th, 2019, approving capital improvement plan, providing for a repealer, severability, and an effective date.
Staff report, Mr. Manager.
Per city ordinance, a fiscal year budget must be adopted to fund city operations. Staff recommends mayor and council adopt the budget for several funds and departments of the city of Homestead for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2018 and ending September 30th, 2019. Total fiscal year 2019 proposed budget is $181,783,587 in revenues and expenses. First reading was approved September 12th, 2018.
Thank you. Questions from the council? Hearing none, seeing none, I will now open the floor up again for public comments. Anybody from the public would like to make a comment, for or against? Hearing none, seeing none, I will now close the public comment and ask, are there any final questions or comments from the council? All right, Mr. Attorney, you read anything in here, or are you good?
All set.
Okay. I will now entertain a motion for approval. Approved and seconded. And roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Burgess.
Yes.
Councilwoman Faircloth. Yes. Councilman Maldonado. Councilwoman Bailey. Yes. Councilman Roth.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. We'll take a short, brief recess while the clerk gets set for the next presentations.
I'd like to go ahead and call the council presentation ceremony today to order. What time is it? 5:22. First presentation is mine, which is the Artist in the Spotlight program. So I have the honor to introduce the Artists in the Spotlight for September and November. I believe they have their exhibit night on September 27th. So I'd like for them to come up. It's the Miami Urban Contemporary Experience. I'd like them to come up and talk to you about the exhibit, tell us about what inspired it, what it's made up of, and invite everybody out to your open night. So I'll turn the mic over to you.
Thank you to the City of Homestead for having Muse here. We are excited to be at Seminole Theater with 6 amazing visual artists. We actually have a reception tomorrow from 7 to 8:30. Everyone's welcome to attend. There was a Motown experience that we did over the summer. So the show was inspired by the musical acts of Motown. So you'll see a lot of artwork from artists, abstract work of different musical icons of our era. We're so excited to be a part of the emerging arts and culture scene in Homestead. So thank you guys for having us, and we hope to see everyone at Seminole Theater tomorrow from 7 to 8. It's free, wine, cheese, and a lot of fun. Thank you, Vice Mayor Shelley.
Thank you very much. The next presentation, Councilman Roth. Are you ready? You want me to go on to Councilwoman Fairclough? I'm ready for one of them. Somebody.
The youth council isn't here. Not all of them. I can do one of them.
All right, we're going to go ahead and turn the floor over to Councilwoman Fairclough to do one of her presentations.
If I have any members of the Education Committee here, I think I saw Ms. Barcinas. You can please join me. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We love when it's a packed house. There must be some items on the agenda, but we thank you so much for being here. Well, I am here to recognize some schools who increased in their letter grades. On August 20th, school started back, and several principals were focused on school safety as a result of what happened at Parkland. But there were also a lot of principals in the city of Homestead that were celebrating. So tonight we're going to celebrate their increase on the Florida Standards Assessment Test. We are in an A-rated district in Miami-Dade County Public Schools, and that is a round for applause. An A-rated district, no F schools. And in Homestead, we have no D or F schools, so that is something to celebrate as well. So tonight, I would like to invite, when I call your name, if you can please come up, the principals of the following schools. And then after that, I will be recognizing some high-impact teachers. These are teachers that represent the highest, the best, and the brightest in the state of Florida. And we have them right here in our classrooms in Homestead. So I will be recognizing them as well on tonight. So first step, Center for International Education, Ms. Lisa Pismienti. She maintained her grade of an A. Is she here? Ah, there she is. Congratulations. Charter School at Waterstone, Ms. Nancy Roque. Is she here tonight? You can pass it. I don't believe she's here. Charter School at Waterstone went from a C to a B. Everglades Preparatory K-8 Academy. Are you here? This school went from a B to an A. Gateway K-8. I saw Ms. Anderson here. Yes. Gateway K-8 Center, went from a C to a B. Congratulations, Gateway K-8 family. Keysgate Charter, K through 2, Ms. Baez. Are you here? You're representing her? Absolutely. Come up. They went from a C to a B. Congratulations, Keysgate. Miami Arts Charter, are you here? You're an A school. Went from a B to an A. Miami Community Charter in Florida City, are you here? Nope. They increased to a C. Redondo, Mr. Anderson, I saw you. There you are. Redondo maintained their A rating. Somerset Soho, Lida Morales, is she here? Representing Ms. Morales Cosio. Somerset City Arts, are you here? Come on up. Went from a C to a B. West Homestead K-8 Center. Is Dr. Berth here? Come on, Dr. Berth. Listen, from a D to a B. Congratulations, West Homestead K-8 Center. Homestead Middle School, Dr. Contessa Bryant. Are you here? No, she's not here. They went from a D to a C. And Somerset Sash Middle, are you here? Here? Come on over. They increased from a B to an A. Let's give a collective round of applause. Oh, wait, I have some more. Mass at Homestead has been consistently in A school. Miss Lisa Naffo, congratulations on maintaining your A. Dr. Bryant is here. Homestead Middle School. Okay, we're going to take a group photo. You can slide down a little bit and stand next to me. Come a little closer. In addition to your certificates, my office will be reaching out to you to support your teachers during Teacher Appreciation. So we're going to give you a monetary contribution for Teacher Appreciation, okay? Congratulations for your special purpose. And now, if our high-impact teachers, if you would please join me when I call your name. These teachers are the highest in the state of Florida. From Center for International Education, Ms. Hannah Ellis. Are you here? Come up, Ms. Hannah Ellis. Also from Center for International Education, Jessica Gonzalez. Also from the Center for International Education, Antonio Labadie. She'll have to help. Selena will help. From Florida City Elementary School, my childhood friend, Kawanza Baker. Congratulations, Ms. Baker. Born and raised in the same community, and she is having a high impact right here in her community. Congratulations, Kawanza. And our South Region Teacher of the Year, Miami-Dade County Public Schools finalist for Teacher of the Year. It's not happenstance that she's a high-impact teacher. Ms. Katina Perry-Birds. Congratulations. From Gateway Environmental K-8 Center, Carol Landcott. Are you here from Gateway? Congratulations. My sister, Pamela Smith. Congratulations from Gateway K-8. and Dinara Zamudio. She is also a Homestead resident. Congratulations. From Homestead Middle School, Evelyn Hernandez. Congratulations. From Homestead Senior High School, Karina Hamilton. Congratulations, Karina Hamilton. Also from Homestead Senior High School, Kimberly Hughes. Congratulations, Kimberly Hughes. Homestead Senior High School, Andlis Jordan. Not here? We'll accept it on his behalf. West Homestead K-8 Center, Ketley Alexis. Come on, Ketley, Alexis. West Homestead K-8 Center, Jennifer Kidd. Congratulations, Miss Kidd. West Homestead K-8 Center, Elizabeth Marizan. Now you see why these schools increase their grades? All these high-impact teachers. South Dade Senior High School, Lucy Ramirez Quintana. South Dade Senior High School, Rashida Tennant. Okay, she has her cheering squad. I hear you. Also from South Dade Senior High School, Jacqueline Torres Quinones. Congratulations. And we can have their principals to please stand. If you are the principal of one of these teachers here, please stand. Gateway, South Dade, Homestead, West Homestead, K-8. Florida City Elementary, yes. Center for International Education, absolutely. Thank you for your leadership. Leadership is important. And the role that you're having in your schools is definitely having an impact on your teachers. So thank you for what you do, because trust me, I know what you do. Thank you so much. In addition to your certificates, teachers, you will be receiving a $100 gift card to Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, it's even better, to help you to purchase resources for your classroom to ensure that you maintain your high-impact teacher status. Another round of applause for these rock star teachers. You're welcome. You're welcome. Enjoy. Ms. Moreland from the Florida League of Cities, are you here? Yes, come on. We're just waiting on our youth council to make their debut. They will be recognized on tonight by the Florida League of Cities. So I'm going to ask Ms. Moreland to facilitate this presentation.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Faircloth. Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, citizens, and the City of Homestead Mayor's Youth Council. I am Carol Westmoreland, and I'm the Associate Director of Membership in Tallahassee with the Florida League of Cities, and it's a great pleasure to get out of the office and down to this area. Tallahassee is the home of the great Florida State Seminoles. I can't help but get that in. It's the FLC, Florida League of Cities, asked youth to showcase a current or new youth council project that addresses a local need. Youth are required, i.e. children, parents, everybody else, to write a narrative that included what the project was about and why it's needed in their community. The Homestead Mayor's Youth Council chose to spend Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day giving back to their community. The council primed and painted the home of one of the oldest living members in the Southwest District of Homestead, along with completing minor landscaping. We are so impressed. The work of your phenomenal council is exemplary. Thank you so much for your service and hard work. And a special thank you to Councilwoman Patricia Faircloth, who put so much of her time and effort into making this exemplary council. It is my honor to present you with a second place statewide trophy and award for the 2018 Community Service Contest. The council was already presented with a check for $350, and what an accomplishment. Congratulations and keep up the good work.
Before I tee this off to the mayor of our youth council, Maximo, I'd like to thank the Florida League of Cities for facilitating these type of competitions to engage our youth throughout the state of Florida. And I would like to also thank Councilman Burgess for your inspiration. I remember, I believe a year ago, you said, Faircloth, you need to get the kids involved in the league. You need to participate in these competitions. So, you know, I think I'm just a little bit competitive. So I got the students involved. It was all their work. It was their show. I challenged them, and they rose to the occasion. We have attempted this competition for several years, and this is the year that we finally brought home the hardware. And this is because of the hard work and dedication of these talented teens in our community who are spending time to get involved in their local government and give back to a community that has given so much to them. So I thank you for your service. I thank you for rising to the occasion. All the time I continue to increase the bar, you continue to exceed those expectations. And because of that, this is what you have earned. So round of applause to our youth council.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maximo Valdez, and I'm the mayor of the City of Homestead Mayor's Youth Council for the 2018 to 2019 school year. I attend Center for International Education, which has some of the teachers that were awarded today, so go that. So initially, when we were tasked with this project, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little scared, almost skeptical in a sense that we can make it. You know, it's a statewide competition, and I really questioned how far can we make it. But because of the leadership from Councilwoman, our wonderful assistant, Selena Meeks, I don't know if she's here, along with the council and Vice Mayor Adam Latif, it's something that went amazingly. The experience was something else. The Florida League of Cities conference, it was a lot of fun. We all learned a lot. And overall, this experience was awesome, being able to go out and serve the community and really just understand what it means to serve the community, like I said, and make an impact on, even though it's just one person, it does make a large impact. So thank you.
We also work on public speaking, so this was completely, he shot from the hip. And didn't he do a fantastic job? Absolutely. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Oh, let's take a group shot. You're in the middle. You two in the middle. Some of you come on this side. Some of you come on this side. Yes. Max. This side. Slide down a little bit. Go down some more. Your hands, your hands, your hands, your hands. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Faircloth. Councilman Roth, go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. It's always inspiring to see what we do as a community for our local schools and the children in our local schools. Patricia Faircloth is an esteemed advocate for education, and to see your passion inspires me as well. This presentation is also about students and academics. The CRB, which is the Community Relations Board, put a challenge out to the local schools in an essay contest. If the CRB members are here, please come up front, please. This is a portion of the board that makes decisions that help our community and the relationships in our community. This year they reached out to schools in our area and challenged students with an essay contest. And the essay contest was titled, "What is Community and How Can I Impact It?" Suiting, because here in Homestead we're always looking to improve the lives of other people. All the essays that came in were judged by this board, and 5 students will be receiving tonight laptop computers to help them in their studies. And hoping that the CRB, Community Relations Board, makes an impact on them. Now, I'm not sure if these students are all here tonight. I will ask them each to come up individually. The first one I have is Brianna Parr Hill. Are you here? And just so you know, I'm not kidding. These are laptops. Let me hand you this. Congratulations. Just stay up here with us, okay? The next recipient is Nicholas Pena. Are you here? These laptops were provided to these students through funds from the CRB. The next student is Caleb Torres. Are you here? No? No? I guess this one's for me. The next recipient is Alejea Springle. Yes? No? Maybe? There she is. Chief, sorry. And our final recipient is Brianna Martin. There you go. Congratulations. And there you have it. A simple essay contest. A little bit of work, a little extra work earned you guys laptops. And as a lesson in life, nothing good is easy. You've got to work very hard to achieve your goals. This is one small goal that's going to help you achieve a lot of different things in life. Enjoy it and congratulations. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Councilman Roth. That concludes our council presentation ceremony for today. We will adjourn and then reconvene at 6 o'clock for the regular scheduled council meeting. I'd like to call the Homestead City Council meeting to order at 6:03. This evening we will have the invocation by Reverend William Chambers III, pastor of the Church of the Nazarene, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with Councilman Maldonado. Would you please stand? Do we know if Mr. Chambers is here? Does anybody know who Mr. Chambers is? No? Okay. Let's go ahead and go straight to the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Maldonado. Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Burgess. Here. Councilwoman Faircloth.
Here.
Councilman Roth.
Here.
Councilman Maldonado. Here. Councilwoman Bailey.
Here.
Vice Mayor Shelley.
Here. Additions, deletions, deferrals. Mr. Attorney?
Yes, we have a request for deferrals on tabs 18, 19, and 26.
Okay. And 18 and 19, that's the Solera
That's the
application?
Solera application set.
And okay. Councilman Burgess, you have a question?
Well, I'd like to make a motion for deferral on 18 and 19, but move it to November. Because with our backlog of P and Z being what it is, we've already got a quite full agenda come October, so I was wondering if the board would agree with me on that.
Mr. Attorney, is this for a date certain, the deferral, or is this just an open-ended deferral at this stage?
Like to make it a date certain, you're free to. So,
Okay. So would you like to make,
No,
because we got to vote
Council
on the.
meeting is November the 28th, so I would defer this item, these two items, at the request of being deferred at the request of the applicant to November the 28th.
Okay, so we got to take a vote on the deferrals anyway, so that's your motion to defer?
Yes, sir.
For 18 and 19 for November 28th. Do I have a second on that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that carries. Okay. Consent agenda. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Carries. Public hearings.
Yes, please be advised the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in, all testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications concerning any items on the agenda.
I have, I guess on tab 9, although not direct discussions, but discussions that were ancillary to the tab number 9 by residents and various people. So just want to make sure, I have a bunch of caution to put that on the record. Councilwoman Faircloth?
Yes, I've also had conversations on tab 13, I believe 14, 15, 16, 17.
Thank you. Councilman Burgess?
Yes, I would, tabs 9, 10, and just about all of them, so I would go ahead, mark me down for all of them if you would, Madam Clerk.
Okay. Councilwoman Bailey?
Can I do the same thing? Yeah, 9 through, sorry, I didn't mark it on the spot. 9 through 13?
Okay. Okay, thank you. Councilman Roth?
Just add me to that list, too. Ditto.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, hearing no further ex parte communications, I would like to announce for the record that yesterday and again today, we received correspondence from the Homestead Miami Speedway that was addressed to the mayor and the council. I think it's all been disseminated to you all. I received a request from the Speedway that it be officially entered into the record for tabs 9, 18, and 19. Since 18 and 19 is deferred, it'll be part of that agenda packet next month. But for tab 9, we'll enter that into the record officially for consideration.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So at this time, clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify on any quasi-judicial item. So anyone wishing to speak on any items tonight, please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn by the clerk.
Please repeat after me. I. Please state your name. Hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you. You may be seated.
Tab 8 is a final order of the City of Homestead, Florida.
Hold on, James,
Oh,
one
sorry.
second. I got a comment from Councilwoman Faircloth before you get to tab 8.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I wanted to mention this right after you referenced the documents that we have on the dais. And I just want to say, speaking for me, all of you lobbyists out here, don't send me 200-page documents or have it on my desk on the day of a council meeting. Don't send me documents a day of the council meeting. I have a full-time job, okay? I take this very serious. I study, I do my homework. That is not enough time to come here and target these items. So if it happens again, I'm going to ask that we not even consider your request. Have enough respect for us. We all work, and we have things to do. So don't sit this on the dais and expect me to be prepared to have a conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Question related to that. Typically I know that if it's an applicant or somebody that's actually going through our process that we control, that we have deadlines for them to meet in order for them to make an agenda item. But for third parties who are challenging or otherwise providing ancillary documentation, do we have any type of rules regulating that? And if we don't, are there rules and regulations at other municipalities or county level that address that as far as considering that or allowing that to be entered into the record as evidence as part of a proceeding if it's not received by a certain date? Because we have had instances in the past where this has occurred and it's the day before, it's 2 days before, it's the day of the meeting, and we're getting large quantities of information that may be very relevant to the decision we're making, but is not somebody that we control, is not part of the process necessarily. Can we then exclude that as being entered into the record? Is there a methodology? Is there a precedent for that in the future if we were to establish a policy? And maybe there's no answer tonight, but I just wanted to ask if you know off the top of your head and something we could consider going forward so that we get placed in these situations in the future.
Yes, we could, Vice Mayor, we could do that. There is precedent to do that.
Okay.
I mean, obviously your agenda closed. However, we can't, if someone were to, in the course of the public hearing, present
Correct.
evidence or present an expert witness or want to hand out evidence, we wouldn't be able to prohibit that. In that case, it would be my recommendation, and I think you all would, it'd be appropriate to defer the item so that that information can be considered and weighed in your decision-making process.
Right. Which I think is what we've done tonight is we've deferred the item, but at the same time, it is a means that in the future could be used as a weapon to cause us to defer an item or not be able to make decisions on items. And we have people that have experts here and witnesses here and et cetera. So is there a way to level the playing field going forward so that everybody knows the rules and we can make sure that these types of instances don't happen? That's, I guess, would be the question, or something to think about, to look into and report back to us at a future date. So. Do you have something else, Councilwoman? Councilwoman Fairclough, go ahead.
And for me, that goes for anybody. But what I also like to say is we can put policy in place so that it doesn't happen, because it can also be a ploy for us to defer the item so that it can be addressed later. So we need to really work on that because it puts us in a very uncomfortable situation. So I think we need to move very expeditiously on that, and that goes to anyone. That is not just to this applicant, anyone.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Real quick, Councilwoman Bailey, you had one more disclosure, one tab she forgot to disclose.
Sorry, 14 and 15 as well.
Perfect, thank you. Tab 8.
Tab 8 is the final order of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a certificate of use to permit the sale of beer and wine for the off-premise consumption in conjunction with the operation of a grocery store located at 3322 Northeast 7th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Staff report.
Yes, sir. We recommend the mayor and council approve the final
Hold
order.
on, I got to get your mic hot. All right, go ahead.
Can you hear me yet?
I got you.
Staff recommends that the mayor and council approve the final order granting the request for the certificate of use permit for the sale of beer and wine for off-premises consumption in conjunction with the operations of the grocery store, which is a Presidente supermarket located in the Crystal Lakes Shopping Center. They're requesting this certificate of use for the off-premises consumption. They're having a 25,000 square foot grocery store in that shopping center. The proposed hours of operation are Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., Sundays, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. All the hours comply with the city code section 3.9. We've evaluated to the city code and it meets all the requirements. Again, we're recommending approval.
Any questions from council? Seeing none, this is a public hearing. I'll open it now to the public hearing. Anybody like to come up and speak in for or against this item? Come up. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Valdez, I'm lobbyist for Presidente Supermarket, and I just
Can you
want
please
to
speak up? We can't hear you, sorry.
just want to say thank you and appreciate your consideration for the permit. We look forward to being part of this community, especially after what I saw with these kids here today. That was impressive. And we hope to open about 70 positions for employment and look forward to getting on the board here and moving forward with the city. Thank you so much for your consideration. Thank you.
Any additional public comments? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any additional questions from council? Seeing none, do I have a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 9.
Tab 9 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, repealing and rescinding ordinance number 2016-0506, adopted on May 18, 2016, that amended the development order for the villages of Homestead, development of regional impact, and also finding that such amendment did not constitute a substantial deviation, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading.
Yes, sir. This is the second reading of an issue we've gone over for quite some time. We're recommending the approval of the repealing the ordinance, adopting the DRI rules that we implemented in 2016. In May 2016, we passed an ordinance on second reading that changed the DRI rules that were put in place in 2012. Following the adoption of that in 2016, the Homestead Miami Speedway challenged the 2016 DRI amendment in both judicial and administrative proceedings. The city and the Motor Speedway have been unsuccessful in reaching a mutually agreeable resolution to this. On June 17, 2017, the applicant, meanwhile, withdrew its application. And so what we're doing here is rescinding the 2016 change to the DRI and going back to the 2012 rules. So we're recommending approval of that.
Any questions from council? Seeing none. Councilman Burgess.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just want to put my position back out there again, as I was the only opposing vote last time, and as I've spoke to residents, neighbors, and to the council. I believe that by repealing and replacing this, we're not helping the city in any way, because obviously there's a threat of a lawsuit again, no matter what we do here tonight or in the future with the Solera site, which this all goes back to. I believe we lose leverage with the developer and the landowner for future uses on the west side of Kingman Road, as we will be taking away any concessions or proffered parcels of land that they had given to us with the 2016 NOPC. So therefore, that's why I will be opposed to this again tonight, because I believe we're not holding the city in the strongest position we can by allowing this to be repealed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Burgess. Any additional comments or questions from council? Seeing none, this is a public hearing. I'll now open it to the public. Anybody would like to speak for or against this item, please come up. Please state your name and address for the record.
Edward Powell, 745 Southeast 18th Lane, Northgate and Keysgate. Just confusing, rescinding and appealing an ordinance. Now, I have the ordinance. I happen to be in planning and zoning when this ordinance happened a while ago. I don't know if any of you have seen this. I have the master layout for the whole development, okay? So could you explain rescinding? Are you rescinding that you're going to allow mixed use in commercial, or are you rescinding that you're going to allow mixed use? I'm confused because next hearing tonight is going to be hearing for 171 townhouses. Now, are we rescinding that they can build townhouses, or are we saying they're allowed, so we're going to hear it? What did we rescind? Did we rescind no commercial? Did we rescind no multifamily? What are we rescinding here? Does anybody know? You're voting on what? There was also in a Keys Note, which is a little local newspaper called Keys Note, it says lawsuit to go away. May 16th, the council voted, and therefore they rescinded the ordinance and the lawsuit's going to go away. Well, I talked to the racetrack, and they said, no comment, still under litigation. So what's the story? They're not talking. It's saying here it's going to go away by your vote, and you're voting again for the second hearing. You don't know what you're rescinding. So I'm confused, and apparently the council is as well. So maybe you could help me with the confusion.
Any additional comments or questions from the public? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. If City Attorney, can you give us kind of like a Cliff Note version of what the 2012 versus the 2016, just so they're clear on what we actually are accomplishing here?
Well, I think the primary issue of concern was the mixed-use area. In particular, there was property in the Park of Commerce that is the subject of a lot of debate and obviously confusion. The 2016 DRI development order made modifications to the mixed-use category that was already in place, that was put in place in 2012. And the action tonight would basically be to remove the 2016 DRI changes off the table to rescind it back to the 2012, essentially. The action was specifically requested in the litigation by the Speedway. I mean, their prayer for relief in their litigation is that the 2016 ordinance should be voided. And so the applicant has also requested that and has also rescinded and revoked their application that they put forward in 2016. So this action would satisfy both the applicant and the request by the Miami-Dade Speedway, Homestead Miami Speedway, as well as potentially put us in a direction to end the lawsuit that's currently pending by the city. I'd rather not go into further detail because it is pending litigation, but that's the genesis of the major
I think that's fine. It clarifies, what is actually being accomplished by the vote. And I think what was mentioned as well is that, there was mixed use in 2012 in some capacity, and there was mixed use in 2016 in some capacity, and the details of that will be discussed whenever the site plan comes before us as far as from a policies perspective, how we interpret those. Any additional questions or comments from council? Seeing none, do I have a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Faircloth? Councilman Burgess? Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 10.
Tab 10. Right?
Yes, tab 10.
Yeah. So tab 10, 11, and 12 all pertain to the same project, dealing with the same property. I can introduce each one of these. We could collectively have a discussion, public hearing, and you can vote on each one separately.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and introduce them all, then we'll have
Sure.
the one discussion and then vote separate.
Sure. Tab
Okay with
10
my
is the
colleagues.
second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving an amendment to the previously approved Malibu Bay Planned Unit Development Master Development Plan by transferring approximately .3341 acres designated for residential development from within Pod H to incorporate the property into Pod G, designated for commercial development, to accommodate additional parking for the commercial uses within the PUD, generally located southeast of the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike, west of Baptist Way, and north of 312th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading. Tab 11 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval requested by PMG Asset Services, transferring approximately .3341 acres designated for residential development from within Pod H to incorporate the property into Pod G, designated for commercial development to accommodate additional parking for the commercial uses within the PUD, and the development of a 7,000 square foot restaurant building and a 10,000 square foot multi-tenant commercial retail building on approximately 2.77 acres on property generally located southeast of the Homestead of the Turnpike, west of Baptist Way, north of Campbell Drive, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date. And tab 12 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting the request by PMG Asset Services, LLC, for a tentative replat approval for approximately 1.069 acres within the Malibu Bay Planned Unit Development, generally located southeast of the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike, west of Baptist Way, and north of Campbell Drive, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for effective date.
Staff report.
Yes, sir. We are recommending approval of all three of these applications. Again, in the PUDs, if we need to make changes, we need to amend the master plan to allow the change. Then they produce a site plan, and then we modify the plat. So we're doing all three of those here. We've looked at the master plan change, and it conforms to the master plan. It fits in well. We've looked at the site plan. It conforms with our zoning code. The uses are allowed, and the way they're set up on the site conform to zoning, and the plat is just largely ministerial to kind of resurvey how the items will be put on the site. So we've looked at it all. We're recommending approval, and I believe the applicant's here to speak on the details.
Okay. Is the applicant here? I don't see the representative. Oh, there. Okay. Would you like to come up and explain a little bit more specifically what the purpose of this is for, what the request is for?
Street, Suite 480. Can you hear me?
No, go ahead.
George Cepero, PMG Asset Services, 4651 Sheridan Street, Suite 480. This is the last piece of the Villa Portofino East and East Commercial development. You all know we have the hotels behind this parcel. We also have the Wendy's and BB&T Bank. We're now looking to bring in a national chain standalone restaurant and 10,000 square foot retail building with several tenants in there. And that would complete that development. We're very excited about it, and we're almost ready to sign those leases. So once we get this done, we can start getting permits immediately thereafter. We're ready to go.
Any questions from council? Councilman Maldonado.
Thank you. And to staff, I guess the question would be, where would I ask in regards to traffic? And maybe I might have missed it, but I think the only concern really that I have, I know that there's one way in and one way out here. I thought I read something in regards to another exit coming out from there. I know one was taken away due to DOT, and then, DOT and the new on-ramp. So, I frequent Wendy's pretty frequently, so just want to put that on the record. And, what happens is that during rush hour, the traffic is fine. I'm making a left-hand turn. Unfortunately, there's no signs, and so you have to be very cautious there. I guess moving forward is, I know there's going to be a lot more traffic there, so that's really my concern. So if you could address that or anything in regards to that.
There will be two vehicular entrances for the parcel. The one that you referred to from FDOT that faces Campbell Drive We did not lose that one. DOT moved it to the east, and the driveway is prepared there right now. They're already putting the new driveway, so that will be the new entry to the parcel. The other entry is through the signalized 30th Terrace, which goes through the roundabout, and has the entry through the back in front of the hotels. So vehicles will be able to turn either through the light if you're coming westbound, or you can either use that 30th Terrace or use the Camel Drive. We expect, however, a lot of the traffic will be generated from the hotels and the office building. The Portofino Professional Center is back there, mostly medical, condo offices. We have the 3 hotels. We, of course, have the BB&T, and the entire residential community back there, all those villas of Portofino East. So the idea was from the beginning to create a walkable and accessible community that people will be able to use those services, and we've always wanted to be able to have the restaurants be able to have a full sit-down restaurant within walking distance right in front of them, so our guests from the hotels can, don't have to go somewhere else. If they're staying 3 or 4 nights, 1 or 2 nights, they can go to right there, walk across the parking lot, and they're in that restaurant. So a lot of traffic will be from there. But yes, there will be for the vehicles an entry directly from Camel Drive and an entry behind it.
That's one. Any additional questions from council? All right, seeing none, thank you. Seeing none, I will open the public hearing. Anybody like to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any additional comments or questions from council? Seeing none, we need to take the vote on separately, tab 10, then tab 11, then tab 12. Do I have a motion and a second on tab 10? Moved, seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Faircloth?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado? Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Do I have a motion on tab 11? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Faircloth?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado? Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Tab 12, do I have a motion on tab 12? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Maldonado? Councilwoman Faircloth? Councilman Burgess? Councilman
I didn't hear.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 13.
Yes, Vice Mayor. Tab 13 and 14 pertain to the same property, same development. Likewise, I can introduce both. You can collectively have a discussion, public hearing, take a separate vote at the end on each.
That's fine with me. Is that okay with my colleagues? Yes. Go ahead.
Tab 13 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving an amendment to the previously approved Crystal Lakes Plan Unit Development Master Development Plan to permit retail, commercial, office uses on an approximately 1.2-acre parcel located at 3320 Northeast 8th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Tab 14 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval requested by CL Property Holdings, LLC, for the development of a 7,303 square foot, one-story retail commercial office building located at 3320 Northeast 8th Street on an approximately 1.2 acre parcel of land as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Staff report.
Yes, sir. This first one, the amendment to the master plan is on second reading, so we heard it last month. Again, whenever somebody, because of our rules, whenever somebody comes in to change something in the PUD, they have to amend the master plan first. What we're doing here is they're amending the master plan to allow for about a 7,300 square foot building instead of a 5,000 square foot building on an out parcel where a building was already allowed. That, we believe, fits with the intent of the master plan. It fits with the intent of the land use and the zoning code. They are going to expand the allowable uses on the subject property to include other typical commercial retail that are consistent beyond a bank building. Again, when we put these master plans together, they were very specific with one allowable use. And we found, and the reason we come back for these changes is because those things are often restrictive and the market conditions have changed. So they're proffering just a broader range of uses. In Exhibit A, you'll see that they have a list of uses that would be prohibited. And they're listed, there's about 22 of those back there, everything from air conditioning sales to telephone exchanges, but they're kind of the old Cody type things. So we are recommending approval of the change of the master plan and approval of the site plan because the site plan matches with all the requirements of our zoning code.
Any questions, comments for staff or council? Seeing none, the applicant would like to come up and make a brief presentation.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Slavens, address 701 Brickell Avenue, Suite 3300. First, I'd like to thank staff for their work in getting us through this process. It was a long summer for us, and we thank you for taking us out of order on our first reading for the PUD amendment before the Planning and Zoning Board. We were successful at Planning and Zoning Board with a unanimous recommendation of approval. We're here today, as the director mentioned, to modify the property from a bank designation to a retail designation, and to increase the size of the building from approximately 5,000 square feet to 7,300 square feet retail building with, we anticipate 3 retail tenants. We've designed it in a way that meets all of the code requirements. It's appropriately landscaped. It'll complete the shopping center. This is the parcel between the new racetrack that's coming in at the corner of 147th and the Dairy Queen that's open today. So we look forward to hopefully starting construction before the end of the year if we're approved this evening and having the building open for business by the end of next year.
Thank you very
I'm here
much.
to answer any questions you may have.
Councilwoman Faircloth.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So we've had some extensive conversations about this property because it's in my district and I wanted to be very particular about the type of tenants that comes into the district because I know what my constituents want. So I thank you for being responsive to all of my requests, my emails, my meeting requests, because I wanted to know specifically what type of tenants were you courting for this property. I wanted to see the list of tenants that you have been courting. I wanted to get an understanding of your marketing plan and how you are courting these tenants. And I also asked to look at the portfolio for the applicant to determine if it's a top tier applicant to come into this community. And I'm very impressed with what I saw, the type of tenants that you're courting for this property. So I will be supporting this agenda item tonight because you have delivered on everything that I asked and requested. So thank you.
Thank you, and we appreciate your support. You know, the property is owned by a parent company named MMG Equity Partners, and they are a retail shopping center owner. Just to give you, the rest of you a little bit of background, they have over 40 shopping centers across the country, but 22 in Miami-Dade County, and they're locally operated. They're born and bred in Miami. They care a lot about Miami. The family had owned the Navarro pharmacies, so they're very familiar with what happens in a shopping center and what kind of caliber of quality they're looking for. The 4 shopping centers that MMG has owned and developed from the ground up in the last few years have been very successful, and they do look to curate local businesses. And by local businesses, I mean businesses that are locally originated out of Miami or of South Florida and have multiple locations across our community to help create that sense of community and hope to grow our local businesses and economic development. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. I'll now open tab 13 and 14 for public comment. Anybody for or against tab 13 or 14? Seeing no public comment, I'll close the public hearing. Any additional questions or comments from council? Seeing none, do I have a motion for tab 13? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Faircloth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Do I have a motion on tab 14? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Faircloth?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado? Councilwoman Bailey? Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 15.
Yes, Vice Mayor. Tab 15, 16, and 17, we can consider collectively. They all pertain to the same property and same project. Like the previous items, I can introduce each. You can collectively discuss and then vote on each separately.
Is that okay with my colleagues?
And I would just like to note for the record that tab 15 is a comp plan amendment, which is a legislative matter, but it's placed here on the agenda for purposes of collective discussion, even though it's not quasi. We put it here because it deals with the same property that is the subject of the two subsequent zoning applications.
And is one a precondition to the other? If one fails, the others are no longer relevant, or?
Yes, so if you all decide as a policy not to adopt the comprehensive plan amendment, then by default, the zonings are no's.
Okay.
So tab 15 is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan future land use map designation of an approximately 10.99 acre parcel from light commercial use to medium density residential use for property located at 1554 Northeast 8th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, authorizing transmittal, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Tab 16 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning requested by Phoenix Apartments Venture LP of an approximately .693 acre parcel from professional business restricted B1A zoning district to multiple apartment R3 zoning district for property located at 1554 Northeast 8th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Tab 17 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning requested by Phoenix Apartments Venture LP of an approximately 10.299 acre parcel from restricted retail B1 zoning district to multiple apartment R3 zoning district for property located at 1554 Northeast 8th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Staff report.
Yes, sir. We are recommending the approval of the rezoning and, the comp plan amendment and the two rezonings. What we have here is that the applicant had come in 1995 and built a 164-unit multifamily apartment complex. And what happened after that was that the land use and the zoning changed. It's the property's on one big area, but it's on two parcels, a large parcel and a small parcel. So the land use will change the whole thing, the large parcel, and the zoning is effectively making the same change from business to residential. The reason they're doing is they want to, what happened when they rezoned and re-land used was they took they made the property basically a non-conforming use. So the applicant wants the ability to legally build back what they have in the rare event of a natural disaster if it were to go away. So that's the rationale for these changes, and we're simply just making the land use and the zoning conform to what is on the site now, what is built on the site right now. And so we're recommending approval.
Any questions from council? Councilman Burgess.
To the staff. Currently, they're at 14.9 something units per acre. What does our current medium density allow when somebody comes in for a current?
I believe it's 10 units an acre, but they would only be allowed to build back at the maximum density of the land use that exists at the time of the problem. So
they would
not be able to build back to that intensity.
Okay, that was my question. They would only be allowed to come back at 10 units per acre.
8 units an acre.
8 units per acre, I mean. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Burgess. I have, I have some concerns about this one myself, though, because I know based on where you're saying timeline-wise, they built the property in its current form. The council at the time, as policymakers, for whatever reason, decided to then not go along with that particular type of use there, right? They put a zoning category that was different than what was already there, so I assume they made a conscious decision to do so. And it makes sense because Campbell Drive, that's kind of our commercial corridor, what we've designated as a commercial corridor, so it makes more sense for that to eventually be some sort of a commercial project versus the current use, which is an apartment complex. And so for me, I think there was some decision made back then, a conscious decision. Do we have any of the minutes for that meeting by that council as far as the reasoning, the rationale, any discussions that took place on whether they considered this property as becoming a non-conforming use?
No, sir. I haven't done that. I haven't
Okay.
looked at that.
So I have some concerns. I mean, in its current form, I'm not supportive of it because I think it's LCU use is more appropriate there, and I think there was a conscious decision made by council prior to us to effectuate that change in the future and let natural attrition kind of take place if in the event that something like that were to occur. But it would be helpful to know exactly what the reasoning was, or maybe this was an oversight, something to consider. But for my purposes at this point, I'm a no. Councilman Burgess.
Thank you. So, Mr. Attorney or Mr. Cordino, if we don't approve this tonight, what changes out there other than them, unless some sort of disaster should strike them? And then they would have to come back to whomever's sitting up here at that time and do the process?
In the unlikely event that there was a natural disaster and the property had to was seeking to rebuild, they would not be able to rebuild multifamily.
So they wouldn't be able to come in and beg for or plead for forgiveness?
Well, it would be inconsistent with the comp plan,
Right.
and so.
But they could come in and ask for a change like they are
They could come in and
tonight.
ask for a change, correct?
Correct.
I mean, I think there would be extenuating circumstances in the unlikely event that were to happen. I shouldn't say unlikely because, I mean, it's happened here before. In the event that were to happen, I mean, I think you would be looking at a whole different set of circumstances and changes that you'd have to consider wholesale throughout the city with regards to various properties that are in a similarly situated position, whereby, it may be developed as residential and the comp plan or the zoning is no longer that category, and you'd be in positions having to look at vested rights, having to look at, housing shortages, having to look at a whole host of situations that would be different at that time.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
But to piggyback, but as of now, it doesn't affect them. If we don't take action tonight, they still continue to operate their apartments. They're not shut down. They continue to proceed as they are now, unless there was some catastrophic event or some small percentage chance that would to occur. Then, as Councilman Burgess pointed out, there would be an opportunity for the council sitting at that time to potentially change the comp plan, to not affect them, to let them continue to operate, or to hold the line and say this is a policy decision that was made and we're not going to allow anything but commercial to be built. Okay.
I believe that's right, Vice Mayor. I think the applicant is here and can tell you, I think that there are some concerns with regards to the non-conforming designation on the property causes some restrictions with respect to financing or trying to get financing on the property. And so as long as the cloud of a non-conforming category is on the property, they're restricted in those regards. And I think the applicant can fill you in.
Perfect. All right,
on
thank
those
you.
Details.
Thank you. Any additional, Councilman Roth?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. That was kind of be one of my questions. Does it affect the marketability of that property for them to resell it with this over their heads? Just like you mentioned, the ability to get financing, because if something did catastrophically happen there, that they wouldn't have the proper zoning to rebuild it. Does it affect marketability of the property as well?
I can't tell you specifically that it does. We don't look at that in the analysis. I think the applicant would be better to answer or address that question for you, Councilman Roth.
And I'd be also curious, as the Vice Mayor requested, to see what the thought process was of the previous administration, because, the history's been where, councils change projects and thoughts and processes change as well, and it kind of stops what may have been a good thing for the city. And you said these apartments were in place since when?
I believe
1995.
95. And when did the change occur for the future
I'm
land
looking,
use map?
I'm looking that up, so, right now.
We don't know when it changed.
I don't know when it changed.
All right,
But I'll
so
find
that would just be, it'd be curious, at 1999, so we're 20 years later, basically, and there was a thought process that somebody had that little corridor may be better suited for, commercial, I guess, is what the future land use there is. And be just, curious to see what their thought process was. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Problem. Councilman Maldonado.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just kind of want to shed a little bit of light. Back in 1995, I was an inspector for the Florida Homestead Housing Authority under HUD, and I was basically a Section 8 inspector at that time. I was privy to meet the developers that were finished. I actually did a few inspections, not few, but many inspections for that property at that time because it was after Hurricane Andrew. This place basically turned into a ghost town, and that was, I think, when I spoke to the owner, and I actually recall that it was funny that this conversation is coming up. I would have never imagined we'd be talking about it today. But it was just the fact that the only use for this community was a bedroom community. And so I don't know as opposed to what the council was thinking, but that would tell you what the owner told me is basically, and I think they were involved in another one because there was, on 12th Avenue is when all those apartments came on board as well around that same time, because I was also doing inspection for those, which were brand new units at that time. So I would guess that at that time it was a rentals. This is a rental community. No one was buying at the time. The base had gone. Everything had happened after Hurricane Andrew. So just want to shed some light on that.
Seeing no additional questions from council, would the applicant like to come up and speak? Please state your name, address for the record.
Evening, everybody. Graham Penberg, Howard L. Fernandez, Larkin, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard. I don't think we're going to need to go through those slides, but I'm going to limit myself to the concerns and the questions raised by the council. We do have a full presentation. Our entire team is here.
Yeah.
Really? I was trying to eat this microphone, so I guess I have to get a lot closer. It's not good for tall people. I just want to address some of the comments from council, and then, of course, we have a full presentation if you're interested. I think the genesis of that idea, and some of the council has already put their finger on it, is to preserve the markability, insurability of this site. We, at the outset of this process, we were a little bit surprised that the city has no mechanism to protect existing legally constructed buildings like this or communities like this. Because of that change to the plan, which we also requested those records, and Joe can tell me if he's found anything, but when we requested it, no one can find any evidence that it was ever considered that this particular site should be modified and the nonconformity was ever considered at all. So the way that it looked to us from the outside was there was the desire to encourage commercial on Campbell, which of course makes sense, but there was no recognition that that meant that this property could be lost and never rebuilt. So that's why we've spent the time and the energy now to do this. This is 164 low-income rental apartments, which is, as your comprehensive plan explains, an important resource for the city. Our client has spent millions of dollars in renovating this property in the last 2 years, and he wants to protect that investment for that he spent in it and ensure the insurability and markability of the property moving forward. So we understand, and in your package also our economist is here, Andy Dolkart. And he did an analysis that staff has reviewed, and basically what Andy found is that this change would have no impact on the availability of commercial land within the city. And if you look at this property, you'll note how narrow it is at Campbell. It is really not a good location for commercial. Now, of course, 25 years from now, 30 years from now, the property transfers, maybe it will make sense, and that new owner can come in and say to this council, listen, I'm on Campbell Drive, it's appropriate to be commercial, and then move forward that way. I think that the reason we wanted to do it now, rather than wait for a disaster, is that if we wait for a disaster, and then we have to go through that process, add another year on top of what we would need to rebuild the property, is that those 164 families could be left out of their homes for even longer than they need to just to rebuild. And as Councilman Burgess noted, we won't be able to rebuild everything. We will lose a third of our density if, God forbid, we get another Andrew. So we have worked very hard with your staff. Again, we have a positive recommendation. Planning and zoning is unanimously in favor of this. This has to go to the state anyway. So we would ask you to pass it on first reading. It has to get transmitted. We can, in the interim, investigate the issues regarding the genesis of the amendment that made us non-conforming, and by second reading, hopefully have that information for you. But again, as you know, this is an unusual application for a guy like me. There's no new development whatsoever, right? This is only preserving what has been there and what our client has spent millions of dollars in maintaining. So with that, we're here for any questions. So, again, we would ask for your approval on first reading tonight.
Councilman Roth.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just a question. How
I'm trying here. Hold on. There we go. Go ahead.
How was this discovered? What triggered the need to come in? I mean, if you didn't know it when it happened, whenever it happened, and nobody seems to know when it happened, what triggered it? Something had to trigger it.
During the point where the property was being renovated, our client looked at the issue and came to us and asked us to explore the question of what would happen, because that had been raised during the renovation project. What could occur if we lost these buildings in a hurricane? We looked at the code, we sat down with staff, and the conclusion that the staff came to was that there was no solution other than this process to protect the property. The code, as written, does not protect this building whatsoever because of the change to the plan. So that's how it came up.
Okay. So it just piques my curiosity that nobody seems to know when it actually took place, though, and what meeting or what year that it took place, and it just all of a sudden it just appeared there, and that's just kind of strange to me.
Councilman, sorry to interrupt, but I would guess, and this is just a guess, and of course we can keep looking between, assuming we pass this on first reading, is that when, especially during, and Joe might echo this, especially during kind of year changes, major changes to the comp plan, things come in, you do the whole map. It makes sense from a larger scale point of view, and then no one, because again the property was operating and there were no specific issues about that site, then nobody really thought about it, and the owner at that point didn't think about it either, right? You come in, you do it in overall year-based amendments. It's a new map. No one's saying anything about the operation of the property. That's the kind of thing that really just kind of doesn't get paid attention to. It is because of the interaction of the plan designation and the way that your code operates that it just became a problem when our client actually started looking at it.
Because I don't think it's truly fair unless there's some type of a warning put in place that 20 years from now that you will not be able to do what you do at your building, and then to find out that whether it be a hurricane, a fire, whatever, destroys the building, now you can't build but 2/3 what you had there now. And I don't think that is fair, to anybody that owns property in the city. So I'll be curious to see what Joe and you guys come up with as far as dates, times, meetings, and the minutes from the previous thing, so we'll understand more about what goes on. Does this have to come before us 2 times? It does? So we can put it through tonight? And we can gather the information for the next meeting and then make a decision to move forward or not, based on what we find out from the future, the past. So, okay, thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Any additional questions for council? No. All right, thank you. This is a public hearing, and I'll open it up to the public for any comments regarding tab 15, 16, and 17.
Edward Powell, 745 Southeast 18th Lane, Homestead. As I recall, this property, it was way back when I was on planning and zoning. And if I remember right, the front part of that parcel on Campbell was going to be commercial, and the back of that was residential. That kind of made sense. And then at one point they came and that switched around, and I think they flip-flopped. And now here we are at this point where, if I've got the location right, we've got apartments to the south of this project, older ones. We've got commercial all along Campbell. Why would we put housing to fill in that gap on Campbell, which is all commercial at this point? Plus also, when you turn it to residential, what about the impact of the traffic? We probably have an F rating traffic situation on Campbell anyway. It can only make it worse, can't make it better. And the other point, my point would be, if you made it residential, you should wall off Campbell, you should make them go out the backside and over to 12th Street, and then take 12th Street and 4-lane it so they can get in and get out of there. That would help Harris Field and some other stuff. That would give them their residence. It wouldn't give them any access to Campbell, and only to the 12th Street if you were going to go to residential, which Homestead does not need anymore. Thank you.
Any additional comments? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Councilman Burgess.
But just a point of clarification, this is not new residents that are being built. These are existing, and they're just trying to get the land use to conform to what is already there and has been there since 1995. So 23 years ago, these apartments were built. This is not a new request. It's just them trying to get some legalities worked out. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Burgess. Any additional questions or comment from council? Seeing none, do I have a motion on tab 15? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado. Councilwoman Fairclough.
Yes.
Councilman Burgess.
Yes.
Councilman Roth.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley.
No.
The motion carries.
Tab 16, do I have a motion on tab 16? Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth.
Yes.
Councilman Burgess.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough.
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado. Councilwoman Bailey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley.
No.
The motion carries.
Tab 17, do I have a motion on tab 17? Moved. Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Burgess. Yes. Councilwoman Fairclough.
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado. Councilwoman Bailey.
Yes.
Councilman Roth.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley.
No.
The motion carries.
Tab 18, 19 were deferred. Tab 20.
Yes, tab 20 is a second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 zoning, Article 1 in general, Section 30-1 definitions to add definitions related to medical marijuana uses and establishing Article 3 district regulations, Division 1 generally, Section 30-70 interpretation of uses and structures, prohibited uses, to prohibit medical marijuana dispensaries, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Staff report.
So nothing's changed since first reading. I can give a brief summary if you'd like, or
If my colleagues need any additional? No. Okay. Councilman Burgess.
Have we had any, no, Siri. Have we had any inquiries as to anybody wanting to come in through the development services?
Yes, we have.
Okay. Thank you.
Seeing no additional questions, I will open it to the public hearing. Any comments from the public on tab 20? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any additional questions or comment from council? Seeing none, do I have a motion? Moved, seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 21.
Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor, this is an ordinance for first reading. It's an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 28 Utilities, Article 8 Electricity, Division 7 Net Metering Program for customer-owned renewable generation systems at Subdivision B rate schedules by amending Section 28-426 applicability to revise Tier 1 and Tier 2 classifications for renewable generation system customers, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Barbara, did you want to just give a less boring thing than this paragraph here? 'Cause, you better. Otherwise, everybody's going to go to sleep here.
Well, some of them were already napping. Certainly. Vice Mayor, Council, this is a change to the net metering ordinance, and the ordinance is currently being used for the most part for people who want to put solar generation on their rooftops, both residential and commercial. And it has 3 tiers. Tier 1, the intent of Tier 1 is for residential customers, and the limits on Tier 1 currently in our code are from 0 to 10 kilowatts of capacity. As homes get larger, the level of 10 kilowatts doesn't meet the needs for the standard home at this point in time. So we wanted to raise that up to 15. Also with Tier 2, Tier 2 is basically intended for small and medium commercial applications, and with Tier 2 comes some more stringent insurance requirements. So we don't want to hold our residential customers to these more stringent insurance requirements because they can be a little bit onerous for just a homeowner who's wanting to put in some solar panels on their roof. So with all of that said, we are just looking at changing Tier 1 to go from a top level of 10 kilowatts up to 15 to accommodate the slightly larger homes. And in doing that, we would also change Tier 2 to go from 10 kilowatts up to 100 and change that to 15 to 100. So hopefully that explains this.
Much more exciting, Barbara. Thank you.
Exciting, yes.
So essentially, we're just making it easier for people to take advantage of putting solar roofs or power on top of their rooftops without paying additional expenses or having additional insurance requirements, correct? Okay.
Yes, thank you, yes.
Okay. Any questions from council? Seeing none, this is a public hearing. I'll open for the public to comment on tab 21. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion? Moved. Seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Fairclough?
Yes.
Councilman Roth? Councilman Bailey? Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Burgess? Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 22.
Okay, tab 22 deals with releasing Vero Beach from FMPA power contracts. There's 3 separate resolutions for each contract. With your permission, I'll read the titles together and we can take separate votes. The discussion will be the same. As I do this, if anybody feels the need to go get a cup of coffee or anything, this is probably a good time.
All right, so there's 3 resolutions underneath tab 22?
Yes.
All right, so yeah, read them all and then we'll
Okay.
deal with them.
First one is for the Stanton project. It's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, the Stanton project participant, providing for the incorporation of certain findings, defined terms, and general provisions, approving amendments to the Stanton Power Sales Contract as amended and project support contract as amended between Florida Municipal Power Agency and the Stanton project participant, consenting to the transfer and assignment between the City of Vero Beach and Florida Municipal Power Agency with respect to the All Requirements Power Supply Project of a 32.521% power entitlement share in the Stanton project, consenting to amendments of the Stanton Power Sales Contract and project support contract between the Florida Municipal Power Agency and the City of Vero Beach, and waiving certain rights to have such amendments for the City of Vero Beach included in the Stanton project participants, Stanton Power Sales Contract and project support contract, providing for the mutual release by the Stanton project participant and the City of Vero Beach, Florida, for obligations and claims related to Florida Municipal Power Agency, providing for the mutual waiver and release of the City of Vero Beach, Florida, from the obligations related to the Stanton project, providing for the assignment of certain rights and obligations under the Stanton Power Sales Contract and project support contract between Florida Municipal Power Agency and the City of Vero Beach to be assigned to the Stanton Bond Trustee as defined herein, to enforce such contracts, declaring that this resolution is valid and legally binding upon project participant and constitutes a contract, designating authorized officers of Stanton project participant, taking certain other actions, and providing for an effective date. That was Stanton 1. Did I? On to Stanton 2. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, the Stanton 2 project participant, providing for the incorporation of certain findings, defined terms, and general provisions, approving amendments to the Stanton 2 Power Sales Contract as amended and project support contract as amended between Florida Municipal Power Agency and the Stanton 2 project participant, consenting to the transfer and assignment between the City of Vero Beach and Florida Municipal Power Agency with respect to the All Requirements Power Supply Project of a 16.4887% power entitlement share in the Stanton 2 project, consenting to amendments of the Stanton 2 Power Sales Contract and project support contract between Florida Municipal Power Agency and the City of Vero Beach, and waiving certain rights to have such amendments for the City of Vero Beach included in the Stanton 2 project participant Stanton 2 Power Sales Contract and project support contract, providing for the mutual release by the Stanton 2 project participant and the City of Vero Beach, Florida, for obligations and claims related to Florida Municipal Power Agency, providing for the mutual waiver and release of the City of Vero Beach, Florida, from obligations related to the Stanton 2 project, providing for the assignment of certain rights and obligations under the Stanton 2 Power Sales Contract and project support contract between Florida Municipal Power Agency and the City of Vero Beach to be assigned to the Stanton 2 Bond Trustee as defined herein, to enforce such contracts, declaring that this resolution is valid and legally binding upon the project participant and constitutes a contract, designating authorized officers of Stanton 2 project participant, taking certain other actions, and providing for an effective date. And finally, the St. Lucie project, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, the St. Lucie project participant, providing for the incorporation of certain findings, defined terms, and general provisions, approving amendments to the St. Lucie Power Sales Contract as amended, and project support contract as amended between Florida Municipal Power Agency and the St. Lucie project participant, consenting to the transfer and assignment between the City of Vero Beach and Florida Municipal Power Agency with respect to the All Requirements Power Supply Project of a 15.202% power entitlement share in the St. Lucie Power Project, consenting to the amendments of the St. Lucie Power Sales Contract and Project Support Contract between Florida Municipal Power Agency and the City of Vero Beach, and waiving certain rights to have such amendments for the City of Vero Beach included in the St. Lucie Project Participants St. Lucie Power Sales Contract and Project Support Contract, providing for the mutual release by the St. Lucie Project participant and the City of Vero Beach, Florida, for obligations and claims related to Florida Municipal Power Agency, providing for the mutual waiver and release of the City of Vero Beach, Florida, from obligations related to the St. Lucie project, providing for the assignment of certain rights and obligations under the St. Lucie Power Sales Contract and Project Support Contract between the Florida Municipal Power Agency and the City of Vero Beach to be assigned to the St. Lucie Bond Trustee as defined herein, to enforce such contracts, declaring that this resolution is valid and legally binding upon the project participant and constitutes a contract, designating authorized officers of the St. Lucie project participant, taking certain other actions, and providing for an effective date.
Do we have a short staff report? Barbara again? Okay.
Barbara will make it more interesting. Go ahead.
Back in November 28th of 2017, City Council...
Barbara, pull the mic down. We can't hear you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Back in November, City Council approved in substantial form the resolutions outlining the consents and waivers required to release the City of Vero Beach from 3 FMPA power contracts in which the City of Homestead is a participant. As our attorney has covered, those 3 projects are the Stanton Project, the Stanton 2 Project, and the St. Lucie Project. And this was done with the understanding that staff would come back to council with the final resolutions for approval, and those are the resolutions that were just shared with you. Vero Beach is asking to have the Florida Municipal Power Association, FMPA, their All Requirements Project, assume Vero Beach's entitlements in the 3 projects, and that requires consents and waivers from the City of Homestead and all the other participants to release Vero Beach from the agreements. This action will have no impact on the City of Homestead. We'll continue to participate in these 3 projects in the same manner that we currently do. So, staff recommends that the Mayor and Council approve the attached final resolutions, which outline the consents and waivers required to release the City of Vero Beach from the 3 Florida Municipal Power Association power project contracts in which the City of Homestead is a participant, and that is subject to Vero Beach's entitlements in the 3 projects being assumed by the Florida Municipal Power Association All Requirements Project. If you have questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions from council? No, seeing none. Open a public hearing. Any comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. We need a motion on Stanton 1. Is that how we're doing this, each individual resolution? Do I have a motion on the Stanton 1 project? Moved. And do we have a second? Seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilwoman Fairclough? Yes. Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
We have a motion on the Stanton 2 project. Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilwoman Fairclough?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Do we have a motion on the St. Lucie project? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Fairclough?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Yes, Vice Mayor, tab 23 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, accepting a grant award from the State of Florida Office of the Attorney General in order to provide victim advocacy services to crime victims, approving the grant agreement, authorizing the city manager to execute the grant agreement, establishing a budget in the amount of $150,237.36 for the expenditure of grant funds, and providing for an effective date.
Staff recommends Mayor and Council approve the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the State of Florida Office of the Attorney General in order to provide victim services in collaboration with the Homestead Police Department. The VOCA grant award is for $150,237. The awarded funds will fund 3 SOS victim advocates that will be located within the Homestead Police Department. Victim advocates will work in collaboration with Homestead police officers to ensure victims of crime receive support services while participating in the judicial system. Advocates provide judicial support and orientation, relocation, safety planning, victim compensation related to losses incurred from the crime, therapeutic services, and assistance in obtaining basic life-sustaining needs. There's a match of $37,559.25, which is met through 30% of a supervisor's salary from within the police department.
Any questions from council? Seeing none. Of Councilman Roth.
Just not a question, just a comment. Another job well done by SOS and Sandy Nanny for these grants. I mean, it's almost like every meeting now we come, and they've worked so hard to bring this money back to our city to help SOS and its missions, you know, to help other people. I just wanted to give them a shout out. I know Sandy's not here tonight, probably home writing another grant somewhere, but just my appreciation for all their efforts and everything they do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilman. Seeing no additional questions, I'll open it to public hearing. Any questions from the public or comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. No final questions from council. Do I have a motion on tab 23? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Ross?
Yes.
Councilwoman Faircloth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 24.
Tab 24 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving purchase from Auto Environmental Systems, LLC, for front-load commercial dumpsters utilizing the City of St. Petersburg Blanket Purchase Agreement number 2011-89, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Staff report.
Solid Waste Division purchases containers yearly for new residential and commercial customers, as well as to replace damaged and aging containers throughout the year. Once approved, this agreement will go into effect fiscal year 2018-19. Staff recommends Mayor and the Council approve the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into agreement with Auto Environmental Systems, NC LLC, for purchasing residential and commercial containers in the amount of $120,000. Auto Environmental Systems, NC LLC, was awarded a contract pursuant to the City of St. Petersburg RFQ number 5580 for refuge containers and compactors for commercial and residential. City of Homestead has the ability to piggyback this agreement per City Code Section 2-411.1A5.
Any questions from council? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Any questions or comments from the public? Please state your name and address for the record.
Mr. Gretzer, and to the rest of you guys, I'm still trying to understand, in this environment of competitive bidding, how is this an advantage to the city when we eliminate other companies from bidding, once again, being able to come up with a lower bid? You're saying that we're doing blanket bidding, because someone else has offered this competitive bidding process, and now we're going to come back in and piggyback. That's called being lazy to a degree. I know that there are other companies, because let's go to the basics. If someone loses out on a contract, then they're going to come back and try to lower the cost of that product. Am I correct? Most of the time, in this free market enterprise system that we're in, you're going to try to beat your competition. So give me more clarity on how piggybacking on what another municipality does, and we come in and buy in bulk with them. How does it benefit us? That's the question.
Thank you. The question, I guess the city manager said there's a cost associated, though, with going out to bid, right? There's a cost associated with the process. So the idea of piggybacking is that you save that cost by hopefully getting the lowest price from another. Go ahead and explain it, if you would, please, Jerry.
Vice Mayor, you are correct. Municipalities piggyback in order to save the cost of advertising, as well as saving time and going out and doing the solicitations. And this is exactly the case what's going on. Solid Waste needs to get these items immediately. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. And that's why we went ahead and decided to go ahead and piggyback.
And also, by piggybacking, it still means it was a competitively bid. So what you had is a bunch of companies offering a price, and so that process was already done.
And all of those documents are attached to the car item that was submitted.
Right. And there are times where we actually will do our own bid process. If something's, we've had it for a long period of time, there's an evaluation process that we'll go through and we'll decide, okay, now we should do our own. There are times I know that we have done that, but it's from a cost and time saving perspective, this is typically the fastest way.
You are correct.
Okay. right, thank you. Any additional comments from the public? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. No additional comments from council. Do I have a motion on tab 24? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 25.
Mr. Vice Mayor, tab 25 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving purchase from Iron Containers LLC for solid waste containers utilizing the City of Naples invitation to bid number 18-059, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Staff report.
The Solid Waste Department purchases dumpsters yearly for new residential and commercial customers, as well as to replace damaged and aging dumpsters throughout the city. Staff recommends Mayor and Council approve the attached resolution authorizing city manager to enter into an agreement with Iron Containers LLC to purchase solid waste commercial dumpsters in the amount of $90,000 per fiscal year for the full term of the agreement. There is an initial term of 2 years with the option to renew for 3 additional one-year terms, bringing the total value of the agreement to $450,000 for a 5-year term. Iron Containers LLC was awarded a contract pursuant to City of Naples bid number 18-059 for solid waste container purchase. The City of Homestead has the ability to piggyback on the agreement per City Code Section 2-411.1A5.
Any questions from council? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Jerry, you gave me your frog. Open the public hearing. Please state your name and address for the record.
What really was baffling me is my council, who supposed to be fiscally responsible for the citizens, but you're not asking the pertinent questions. You're not asking the relevant questions, because once again, we see eliminating competitive bidding. Now, let me remind you, Mr. Maldonado, let me remind you of Ms. Fairclough. Let me remind you, Mr. Gretzer, that we live in a city right now where minority contracts and all these things are at a minuscule, and especially when it comes down to African Americans and stuff. But we don't even want to have that conversation. You don't like having that conversation. But when you eliminate this competitive bidding process, you're still taking away the minorities who could be involved with this. You're still taking away, just basically eliminating the cost from citizens. This is crazy when you're talking about, and the only reason you're giving me is that time. Well, time is a determination in all deals, and most of the people who will and use time, they use it for their favor. Anytime in the art of negotiation, you always use and manipulate time. Time. We don't have time. Now, you telling me, and I just heard Ms. Fairclough tell you guys and tell these guys out here, I do my homework, and I want to be able to look over things, and you need to give me time. So, Mr. Gresser, you doing this business without having the time? You didn't know that we were going to have these needs to eliminate the competitive bid process? When it comes to competitive bidding, there are a whole lot of political shenanigans when you start eliminating this process, and we know how that goes.
Any additional public comment? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment. Any additional questions from council? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I'd like to just,
go ahead.
just
City
a
Manager, go ahead.
factual issue. This is not eliminating a competitive bid. This is basically another city, a larger city, already did the competitive bid, so any issues involving the competitive process already would have been incorporated in what they did. And so the opportunities to bid, all of the advertising that was done, this wasn't about being surprised. This was about having an opportunity where another city did all the work for us and spent all the dollars to do it for us and came in with the pricing. And we liked the pricing, and that's what we went with. And all the fairness of a competitive bidding process was already done by another city.
Okay. Thank you. Do I have a motion on tab 25?
Move
it. Moved. Seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Ron?
Yes.
Councilwoman Faircloth?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Public comment. I'll open the floor for public comments. I'll read the comment cards in the order they were received. The first is Raymond and/or Mercedes Smith. And only one person at a time can come up. Okay, give it to the clerk, yes. Please state your name and address for the record.
Name is Mercedes Smith. Address will be 1613 Northwest First Place, Homestead, Florida. Zip code 33034. I'm just here again. I came August, in the month of August, about an event, Rock
Hold
My
on.
Beat.
Clerk, can you start the timer? Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Thank you.
All right. I came here in August about a Rock My Beat event for the Seminole Theater. We had to set back the date from September 29th to October 27th because we still haven't met for the budget yet for the kids. Basically, we're still asking for help, a contribution request for that. And also, I came here to also ask, could we do a fundraiser on US 1 and Camel Drive on Friday, October 5th, Saturday, the 6th, and the 7th of October for uniforms for our Fair Storms dancers, if that's okay with you guys.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Faircloth?
I just have a quick question. Do you have a 501c3 designation?
I am a nonprofit, but we're still waiting on for the 501c.
Because in order for us to contribute to it, you'll have to have that designation.
Okay.
The 501c3.
Okay, no problem. I'll work on that as soon as possible.
Thank you. Councilman Burgess, do you have?
To the Colonel Kennedy, what are the rules on going out to Campbell Drive and fundraising, as quote unquote, as they call it?
Councilman Burgess, Mayor and Council, the code clearly reads as far as they're allowed to do it if it's permitted properly through the permitting department. They'd have to go through Kathy Milford and pull that permit for that and submit the application for that.
Thank you. So have you gone in and spoken to anybody, the permitting process yet?
Yet. So I was just trying to see what was the process for that.
Okay.
But I was coming here to ask the city first.
Because regardless, I don't think we can't waive that regardless, I don't believe.
Right.
Yeah.
So that process would have to be started. When you get the proper paperwork and all, I would love to help you out.
Okay, no problem.
I was going to say, they'll probably follow, because according to staff, you can submit an application just like we would, it'd come before us at the CAL, and that way there's a formal process that's being treated the same as all, if they qualify under the rules that we have. So, all right, thank you. Kim Hill.
Mr. Gressy, you know, usually when I come up here, you always make these statements. These people come here and they don't live in this city, but you know I live in the city. Matter of fact, you said something about frivolous lawsuits and everything, and they don't ever mention anything when we beat them. I don't know about we. I came into this world as an individual. I didn't have a twin or anything. And matter of fact, I sued you guys as an individual, and you've never beat me in anything. Not one lawsuit. Matter of fact, I got a proposal for you. Whenever you beat me in court, we'll do like the old wrestling matches say, lose or leave town. If you beat me, I'll leave town. If I beat you, you leave town. How about that? You'll take on that challenge? I don't think you will. But anyway, it's Historically Black College Month, and I graduated from a historically black college. And Miss Fairclough, she graduated from a historically black college. And it's, they told us, hey, advance the cause. You don't have to win it, advance the cause. So what I witnessed, and I was extremely proud of Mr. Maldonado, extremely proud of Miss Bailey, extremely proud of Miss Fairclough the month before when they spoke with the frivolity of providing safety to the public schools. Right there in the Southwest Side, Laura Saunders and West Homestead. But we saw right after the four angry white guys, Mr. Shelley, Mr. Burgess, and the missing guy right here, along with a host of other people. No, you, there you go. You denied access to be able to provide safety. The next following day, there was a close down in that school over there on the Southwest Side because there was someone running around with guns. Not at the school, but in that area. That was a fine example. Now, I saw Ms. Fairclough at her best. I may disagree with her about a whole lot of things, but I can definitely agree with her about the safety. I can agree with Ms. Bailey. I can agree with Mr. Maldonado. But the four angry white guys had no concern because those people on that Southwest Side didn't look like them. If it would have been their kids, they would have been there. And that's where we get into the process of taxation without representation. You will be floating around asking for this 5% increase that you were talking about at the special budget meeting. But the people on the Southwest Side, we can't get body cameras to protect us. We can't get anyone to protect our school. But you want us to step up and give you 5%. Oh, I'm ready for the fight. You just, hey, get your dukes up.
Question for the clerk. I have these yellow papers, which are essentially usually for the public agenda items versus the public comment, the standard public comment section. These were for the items that were deferred. So I guess that Kevin Sullivan, you're listed for a specific item for a public hearing agenda. Right, do you want to speak during the public? I just want to make sure I don't skip anybody that still wants to speak during the public comment that has a card here. Okay. And the same thing for I think a Martin Pilo or Pilo. He's gone too, okay. Next public comment, Ed Powell.
My name is 745 Southeast 18th Lane in Keysgate. Well, way back in 2000 when I arrived, Mayor Roscoe Warren said, we're growing rapidly and we don't want to stay a bedroom community. Well, guess what? 18 years later, what's Homestead? It's a bedroom community, and if you don't believe it, try to drive the turnpike after 5:30 in the morning and try to go north to work. Feel sorry for those people. So I said, where are we spending our money? Are we spending it here in town? Are we going up to Miami? Where are we spending our money? Well, let's check. The mayor, the council, they live here. They're going to represent us. Let's see how they did in their campaign spending. Well, back in 2017, 7 candidates that ran spent about $180,000, $180,000 for campaign. Okay, about 6,000 of that was for here, local business. 6,000 of 180,000 was spent in Homestead. And guess what? 4,021 was spent of that South Dayton News Leader. Mr. Deal, thank you. And what I'm going to do is send you a copy of this so you would publish it in the South Dayton News Leader, which we never get any press on. And I copied you all in this thing. Mayor Porter, he did 3 ads. He spent most of the South Dade. Mayor Shelley, Vice Mayor Shelley, I think you had 1 ad in the newspaper, nothing else. Mr. Maldonado, you bought some T-shirts. You had an ad in the local Latino thing. I think you did a sign. Mr. Williams, who lost, had most money, $51,000. He spent the most, $1,000 on signs and shirts. Councilwoman Bailey, you did a pretty nice job. You spent $435 on signs and shirts, and you spent some of your help, about $1,000 for campaign money. Mr. Williams spent about $3,000 on his campaign people. So, $180,000, $6,000 local, 4,000 South Dade. You spent in this campaign last year in the city about $2,000. It's not a whole lot of money.
Next public comment is David Goodwin. I saw him, I think he left. Okay, that's all the public comment cards I have. I'll now close the public comments. Business from the city manager.
No report.
Nothing. Business from the city attorney.
I just have to. There's a request a couple of executive sessions, one in Lunicon Engineering versus City of Homestead, case number 2017-00561 in the 11th Circuit, Miami-Dade County. Cueto versus City of Homestead, case number 18-025061, also in the 11th Circuit, Miami-Dade County. Hing v. City of Homestead, case number 18-016705, 11th Circuit, Miami-Dade County. And Benucci versus City of Homestead, United States District Court, Southern District, case number 18-23711. Thanks.
Thank you. Reports from mayor and council. Councilman Maldonado.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just one note that I'd like to make to staff. I know that we're still, and Julio, I know that we're still going through changes with all the new on-ramps. The northbound has been reopened, I know that. I see that the sign was made for no left-hand turns and Colonel, excuse me. I know you've seen the issue where we're still having a lot of traffic make a left-hand turn, and it's obviously backing up traffic. I foresee an accident happening there if we don't take some type of measure. So I believe we put up a sign already, a lit sign saying northbound on the right-hand side. I don't know if we can move it up another one or add another one or add more signs to it, because I see them all. But yet, with all the signs that we do have existing, we still have a lot of folks still making a left-hand turn. Just even on my way up here, on the way home today, I basically had to come to an abrupt stop just because people are still trying to make a left-hand turn into the northbound on where they're no longer supposed to. So,
correct, and I can clarify that. Those signs that you're seeing now are signs that are temporary during construction. That doesn't mean that they've changed anything. So those left turns that you're seeing are still basically allowed in that intersection until the whole intersection and the north turn are made final. They're really not final yet. We're diverting some of the traffic to go northbound, making that right turn, going going westbound, going to northbound on the turnpike. But it still allows people to make that left, because that intersection has to stay open for the people getting off from the turnpike that want to go either east or westbound are going to be crossing in that intersection there that you're talking about, of making that left turn. So there's still, the signs that you see are going to be changing from time to time based on where they're working and what they're doing during the construction process. And at the end of the day, yes, you're going to see what you're talking about, which is that there will be no left turns allowed at all, from that. And the median will be designed in a way that won't allow anybody to make those turns. But in the meantime, those are still in the works, basically, because it's still during construction.
Councilman Maldonado, are you speaking of traffic going eastbound that's turning north on the new ramp? Yeah, there actually is a sign postage on the pole now, and Dennis and I spoke yesterday on this issue because I recognize that issue occurring. We're looking at possibly asking the county to, it's not on the original plans, but to submit some standing signs in that median right there to also, at more of a face level, address the traffic traveling. What has occurred is, originally, because that initial, the old on-ramp going eastbound was closed off, traffic was directed further to the east and allowed for a short period of time to enter onto the turnpike northbound. That's since been renovated, that old northbound, and reopened for that eastbound traffic to use the old entranceway. The signs posted there, people are neglecting. I saw that yesterday. We were out there enforcing it and writing tickets at certain times today. So there is an enforcement part of it, in addition to Dennis is addressing it with the county to get some additional signage to educate the public.
Right. Yeah, because obviously that with this, I'm sure you've seen, and obviously because you've written the tickets, you're able to see where, even though we do have a sign that now says no to 10 turns, I mean, the folks are still just blatantly making a left-hand turn, so.
I think I was talking
That's
about
fine.
a different section. Yeah,
We caught
you're
it.
talking eastbound to north.
Correct.
Yeah,
On the new route.
he's right. He's
Yeah,
right.
we're
For
good.
that intersection. I was
As
talking
long as
about
you're on the same page. And so is that going to be a common thing where maybe you guys are going to help out with some enforcement?
Oh, there's definitely, I've already spoken to the traffic unit, and they're specifically putting together some enforcement details out there to educate the public.
Thank you. That's it for me.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bailey.
Nothing. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Councilwoman Faircloth.
I have one item. One was deferred. This is a request to allow the Children's Trust Youth Advisory Committee to host their monthly meetings here in City Hall. And this is a group of high school teens that perhaps function basically in the same capacity as our youth council. They are local high school teens from Southdade, Homestead, Senior High, and they're interested in government. They're interested in honing their leadership abilities to be able to lead in this community. So I wanted to allow them for this City Hall to serve as their backdrop, as their incubator, to serve as future leaders in this community. And I felt that this was the best place to host them monthly. So I would like for you to consider this request to allow these individuals who are interested in leadership to host their meetings here, and to give you a clear understanding of the objectives and the service learning opportunities that these students will be engaged in. All of that information is included in your packets, the very specific curriculum with which the teachers will be facilitating with these students. It's in your packet because I want you to get a full understanding that this isn't just a regular committee that needs the space. This is a very well-defined group of children who's interested in leading in politics, and I felt that this would be the best place for them to cross-pollinate with us on council. They were extremely excited to meet Councilman Maldonado when they had their meeting here last month. And if we see children that are interested in leading in this community and we can help them, I think it's incumbent upon us to help them. So I respectfully request your support on tonight to allow these teens to use that space upstairs, not the main conference room, but the other conference room, to facilitate and host their meetings once a month from 3:30 until 5.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And I know that we had some of this discussion when City Hall first opened. There had been a lot of requests by local organizations to utilize the spacing, and we had some of this discussion at that point. But I think what you're trying to do is differentiate this group from, say, a typical board meeting by this being more of an educational component. This is actually a teaching methodology where these meetings are not just to meet and talk about things. This is more teaching, learning, and it's a good backdrop. So it differentiates it from, say, a local civic organization that would just want to utilize our space as a convenient meeting space. And I think that's important to make sure that we kind of outline tonight, because this may start other requests where we would like to use the facility as well. And I think the other key point, too, we had discussions about in the beginning was that a lot of those meetings had been requested to be after hours, which would require staff time and security and other types of things. And I noticed this time is between 3:30 and 5, which also solves that problem. So I think it makes sense. I think it works, and we can carve it out. And City Manager, you just need direction from the council, make sure there's no objections. Did anybody have any objections to the request? No objections.
Thank you.
Anything additional, Councilwoman?
That's it.
Okay. Councilman Burgess.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Dennis, first let me tell you how proud the AYSO is and how happy they are with what you and your staff are doing out there this year. The fields are in tremendous shape, the best I've seen out there in the 5 or 6 years that I've been participating. So congrats to you and all the guys that are doing a great job out there. Over on 328, there's a Park of Commerce entrance that has 2 brick walls, an entryway. Unfortunately, the graffiti artists have found it on the backside of one of them. And secondly, they're dirty. They remain untaken care of, you know, dirty, mold, mildew, whatever growing on them. I know that we had trouble finding out who owned that house when it was demolished by a car in an accident. Can we find out about these walls and see, I mean, they're really not of any great thing out there, and if they're gonna become graffiti boards, then we need to, you know, really think about what they are. And perhaps we could at least, in the meantime, get the graffiti covered up. I don't know if it's, you know, exactly what it all means out there, but it is covered up with graffiti. So any thoughts from you on did we ever find out who owns them, one, or two, you know, what's the process, I guess, of taking care of them or demolishing them?
Councilman Burgess, I can get with our risk manager tomorrow morning because we work together on the guardhouse, and I'll find out about the walls. Then I can address the issue and then probably send an email to council once I find out what's, you know, what's the thing is.
Round and round for about 5 or 6 months, just trying to find out who even had a deed on that house out there.
Right.
So I'm sure that these walls are going to fall under the same umbrella. But if we could try to figure something out with them, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir, I will.
Okay, thank you. Another item that I've put up for discussion tonight is our Planning and Zoning Board. We've been having trouble meeting quorum, and therefore, this is one reason we have a large and full agenda tonight, and another one next month, because the city had basically come to a stop. And at some point, we've got to make some tough decisions. I mean, I included in your packages the attendance for members. Some of them barely meet 50% attendance. And maybe perhaps somebody can explain to me, we've got two people who's the chair and the vice chair, I believe, their terms have expired back in 17. Yet here we are halfway through 18, and it says that their terms are expired. Maybe that's just a misprint on the attendance sheets, but that was a question that came up to me. But as I speak to Mr. Arza, who was here, has complained to me several times about it, and other people who drive all the way down from Miami only to find out that we can't get a quorum. We've got applicants. The city's got attorneys driving from wherever, staff with Mr. Cordino and his staff sitting here, coming in and spending extra hours for a meeting that they think is going to happen, and at the last minute doesn't. The clerk and her staff do all they can to try to entice these people to come and get their good faith word from them that they are going to show up, and then at the last minute don't, and it puts them in a bind, in a bad position also. So we've, you know, as I said, people come down here sometimes 4 or 5 assistants with them, you know, carrying boards or different traffic engineers and stuff like that. So it's unfair to the applicants. It's putting a bad name out there for the city as far as not being able to get a quorum. So I think we need to have a discussion. I know that it's in our charter that we have one. I don't know if we could do something about that, if we would choose to do something about the charter and put it out there. I don't know if we expand the pool of people that's there from 7 to 11 or whatever number we would choose, and the clerk would go down the roster until she can fulfill a quorum and hopefully fulfill a full board of people that are interested in doing it and doing a job that is there. But we've got to have some kind of discussion, as we've got to do something, because we can't have people with 50% of attendance shutting down and unfortunately we've only got 6 out of the 7 positions filled at this time, but we can't have 50% attendance or they're close to that. And stifling the city and its ability to do business. So I was just wondering if anybody else had any thoughts or ideas, you know, to bring forward as to what a solution may be. You know, you can't, because my idea is if you have a complaint, you've got to have a solution. And so my solution would be that we would expand the board from 7 to 11 people, see how that would work, and that would give the clerk the ability to pull from 4 more names to fulfill a quorum, and we would still, I guess, we would still keep the quorum at 5, or excuse me, at 4, but at least they would have more names that they could pull from at every meeting, and not be limited on the amount of people that are there. So I'd like to hear some other thoughts, concerns, or questions, or ideas, whatever it is. But we've got to do something, because right now we're in a bad spot, and it's not good for the city. So I'll leave it at that and answer questions if I can, or if anybody has questions for Mr. Cordino, he first-handedly saw it month after month, 3 months in a row, I believe it was, Mr. Cordino?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that they came here prepared, the clerk was here, our attorneys were here, applicants showed up, and unfortunately, the citizens, and I mean, you know, one of them did have, his father passed away, so that is definitely an excused absence. But, you know, if the other ones, although they may be marked excused, they would be telling the clerk they're gonna be here and then not even show up, or at the last minute, just call and say, oh, I'm not gonna make it. And by that time, it's too late for the clerk, because she calls them the day prior, and they all give an assurance, yes, they're gonna be there. And then unfortunately, that day, for whatever reason, they don't show, and they won't answer the phone for her, unfortunately, or whatever it is. But, so we've got to do something, and I just think that we need some ideas as we move forward to help the city get back on track.
Perfect. Yeah, and I can concur that I think it is an issue. I think we brought it up last meeting as well, that we wanted to have some sort of formal discussion on it. I think it's good for us to kind of give some direction tonight. I'd be a little hesitant about trying to make decisions tonight without additional information and facts in front of us. I think it'd be better off to have some basic discussion tonight, and then maybe kick it to a formal CAL for formal decision-making, so we have some more backup documentation versus just the attendance record. But I'll open it up now to the colleagues. Councilwoman Fairclough.
Yes, thank you. I had this issue with the Education Committee members as well, and we basically sent them a letter letting them know that you missed these amount of meetings, and your tenure on this board will be sunset. So we've done that, but I know they have to be consistently absent, about three meetings, and they may call in and it's an excused absence. But I think we need to have some conversations with them, because when they opted to serve on these boards, I'm sure they did so with good intentions, but things change, and their schedule may no longer allow them to serve. So I think we should reach out to them to determine, would you like to remain on this board? Can you fully commit to serve on this board? Because we have a city to run, and if you're not present, we can't conduct business. So I think a good first step would be to formally reach out to them, a letter, not just an email, to see if this is something that they want to continue to do. And then from there, we can move forward with placing other individuals on the board who have the time and who have the capacity to really read the information, vet this information, be the buffer for us, so that we can get some of these projects moving along. But it's definitely a hindrance for the city, and I think we need to have some honest conversations with them.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Roth.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I agree with Councilwoman Fairclough as far as communication. Communications is key, but there's also got to be a level of commitment to that job. As we commit up here to show up and do our job, I don't think we've never not had a quorum for any of our meetings. And when we rely so much on P&Z to make decisions that have to be made before they can even come to us, that's important. I like expanding the roster some too as well. And I was thinking, okay, we expanded to 11. We only need truly 7 and only 4 to have a quorum. And what if they all show up at the same time? Who's sitting up here that night? You know, that's just a, just a thought.
The idea would be that the clerk would go down the list, and once she reaches 7 that commit, then the others would be on hold. If not, if 3 say they can't, then she just continues right on down the list, and she can mix it up on a monthly basis, or we could make 7 people the permanent with 4 alternates or something. But I think we need to expand so there's an opportunity for them to fulfill the quorum on a monthly basis without, with people being able, because, look, I'm not saying that people don't have things change, or a meeting comes up, you get stuck on the turnpike in a wreck or something like that. That's an occasional absence, but we have people that have missed 50% of this year's meetings that sit on that board.
I get that, yeah.
And it doesn't give us an opportunity to keep the city moving.
Right.
And, so if we had other names where she could reach into the hat and pull out a name and call somebody, perhaps we could keep the quorums filled and moving on and keep the meetings moving.
Yeah, and I agree with that as well. So,
so we could designate them as an alternate, or
correct,
or whatever we chose, whatever term we wanted to put. But
That would give that board 7 opinions versus maybe the same 4 people always showing up as well. So I don't know what we need to do. Do we want to give them some direction to bring back to us at a formal meeting, as the Vice Mayor suggested, so that we can see a plan in place? I mean, you know, charter-wise, Mr. White, is it possible to expand the numbers?
I think there are a couple of, I mean, based on the direction that was given at the last meeting, you all wanted to see some options. Staff has prepared some of those options and can bring it back to you for discussion at a CAL meeting where you can give policy direction on what you'd like to do. I think there are a number of ways to address this, and, you know, ways in which we could mitigate this issue from happening in the future.
And I think that's the goal, and that's what we would all like to see, because if our book is this big this month and it's going to be this big next month, then it's a lot of items to cover in one night. And I'm sure it puts a burden on P&Z when they've got to look at all this stuff in a sitting as well. And let's keep in mind that I believe that they're all volunteers as well, right? They're not compensated in any way to serve. And if I remember right in the conversation, they did get compensated in the past a little bit, you know, $25 to $50, whatever it was, to show up. I do know that I just overheard a conversation today about the CDDs, and they pay their board members $200 a meeting to show up. So I'm not saying we should be paying them $200 a meeting to show up, but $200 is an incentive because let's face it, this P&Z job is important to us. And as you know, someone else said, our reputation gets damaged when we don't perform, and we haven't been performing. And you know, I just think that I'm thankful John brought this up today so that we have this discussion and we're open about it. We can fix the situation that we have, you know, so we don't have to deal with this in the future. Thank you, Vice Mayor. So I don't know where we go from here.
Okay.
I'm good.
Councilman Burgess, you have a few, and then I got some comments too, so.
Go ahead with yours.
I mean, just kind of echoing the same lines. I do think there needs to be an issue here, but I do think that, you know, for years we've had success with having a committed planning and zoning board. This hasn't been an issue, and so I think first and foremost it has to do with those who are serving on the board. You know, so before we revamp our entire code, before we put together a bunch of new rules and processes and kind of reinvent the wheel, I really think we should focus specifically on those people that were sitting in that seat right now. And if they're not willing to commit, then to find some committed people. Although I think simultaneously we should continue to have this discussion about, you know, how this board should be set up. Should they be compensated or not compensated? I do think we should continue that conversation as well. But I think as far as trying to give direction tonight for a completely new process or a new idea, I'm a little reluctant because I don't think I have enough information or background. But I do think I would like to see this at the next committee of the whole, the next CAL, to have a full discussion with a lot more options and a lot more issues. And that way we can get some backup documentation. And then there we can make some decisions to potentially go to the next council meeting. So.
Well, and that's what tonight was meant for, you know, to get the ball rolling, because obviously there's going to be differing opinions, and we're going to have to come to some kind of terms as to what works. And we also need to reach out to staff and see what's going to work for them. Right. You know, what they think. Mr. Cordino visits, and Ms. Lopez and David, they visit more of these meetings than we do. And perhaps through their visits that they go to and different cities that they work with, and James and Weiss and Sirota also, that they can bring back some ideas that help us to get over the hurdle.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
But I thought we needed to get it out there and get it started, and that's why I wanted to put it out there tonight, you know, and to get it started, because like I said, for 3 months we were stopped.
Right.
And there was a lot of frustration from everybody, you know, that works on either side of the fence. So
then the direction would be that this item comes before us at the next CAL. That would be the idea.
That would be what I would like to see.
For a full discussion, so that we can really kind of flush it out then and figure out, how we're going to proceed.
Right, and the changes could be made through an ordinance written by our attorneys and then enacted at whatever time we come to some sort of consensus.
Okay. Is that okay with everybody else? Okay, so that seems like we got a consensus.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilman Roth.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. A couple things. This goes to the topic we were talking earlier about the Oasis area with the changing of some of that stuff. But there's a traffic light there at the Oasis Publix that allows for eastbound traffic to turn into the Portofino area with a traffic arrow. You can say it if you'd like.
It's okay.
But coming west on Campbell to turn into the Oasis Publix shopping center, there's no arrow. And the majority of the residential people live to the east of that light, and they've been complaining about the amount of time it takes them to get heading west into the Publix shopping center. There's already a designated signal to turn left into Portofino. Can someone find out if we can get an arrow to turn into the Publix Oasis shopping center, coming from the west, coming from the east heading west? Right? Anybody?
So what just to clarify, you're talking about eastbound traffic trying to turn left into the Publix shopping center, right?
Correct.
Okay.
It's actually, no, westbound traffic,
Westbound,
turning left into the Publix Oasis. So you're
Publix
coming from the
Oasis.
east, from 137.
from the east
heading
going
west.
westbound, going into, okay, got it. Got it. What we'll do is I'll set up a meeting with the county regarding the traffic signal there, see what we can do, see what's available. We need to see, to make sure just that the medium is wide enough to include a turn lane there, and also the stacking that will be required for the cars so that they don't back up into the through lanes. But we'll definitely follow up with the county and see what we can do there.
Yeah, there's already a designated turn lane there. It's just there's
No light.
There's no signalization. So
Okay.
if there's a stacking problem, it's already occurring, and then it goes into the number 1 lane heading west also.
Got it.
So you're blocking traffic there too. So it
So
should
that
be a
makes it
simple
easier.
fix. The signalization.
Yeah,
is
that
there.
actually makes it easier. So again, we need to get with them since they have jurisdiction over traffic signals.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand.
Can I just jump on that?
So Councilman Roth.
Sure,
Councilman Maldonado has
absolutely.
a question, okay. Go ahead, Councilman Maldonado.
So on that same light that we're talking about and this is opposite of what he's saying, on the right-hand side, we have an existing lane that goes into the Portofino Plaza.
Right.
And it has no turning indication. Many folks are using that as a stacking lane to go northbound and not letting anyone go into that plaza until all the traffic moves forward again. So I don't know if, in addition, can we do something with the painting on that right-hand side? Just want to piggyback off that
Yes, yeah.
same intersection.
Understood.
Thank
So in
you.
other words, that intersection needs some attention right
Yeah.
now.
Thank you.
And I just want to do a shout out to Dennis and his team for always stepping up when I call with an issue, and I appreciate the time and the energy you guys spend out there. And it's usually because someone's called and complained about something, and you guys are, man, Johnny on the spot, you and your crew, and I appreciate that. And one last thing is my charity event coming up October the 6th at Harris Field, the Homestead Rockin' Food and Craft Beer Festival. It's a kind of a tongue tie. We changed it up a little bit to bring some more excitement. At Harris Field, October the 6th, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We brought in 12 breweries. We're going to be selling 20 different flavors. You can come out and sample beer and enjoy craft beer for the first time, I believe, in the city of Homestead. So October 6th, Harris Field. And that's all I have. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. I don't have anything tonight, but as far as the appointments under the mayor's position here, are these needed for quorum purposes or anything? Does anybody know? Because I know nothing about these appointments, so I'd rather just roll them over to the next meeting unless we need to go forward with them.
We're still in need, we still have one position open for Southwest Advisory.
Okay. All right, but the appointments today, there's 2 for the historic preservation and 1 for the community relations. I don't know much about these. You know, does anybody that's the liaison to these know whether? Go ahead, Councilman Roth, go ahead.
The CRB is an appointment that we're making on, it's a resident coming in from Florida City that is required to sit on the CRB board. Most of us know her, Regina Talbert.
Okay.
And she would be a very good addition to that board, if that's what needs to take place. And I don't know if there's a, I don't
Yeah,
know.
we can do the appointments tonight. I just know nothing about these, so I don't know if I whether to do them or not. So if you guys would like to go ahead and move forward with the Community Relations Board appointment, then we can get a motion in a second and move that one forward. Move second. All in
Yes.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so that one's approved. What about the Historic Preservation Board? You know, if there's, is that a necessity? Does anybody know for purposes of quorum? Anybody? What was the answer? Okay, all right, so then, do I have a motion and a second to move?
Move it, second.
Move second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Adjourn, motion to adjourn?
Move it.
All in favor?
Aye.
See you next meeting.